Welcome to the Project Core Professional Development modules. This module, Teaching Communication During Academics, Independent Reading, will discuss how to support interaction and teach communication as students select, read, and discuss age and ability appropriate books during independent reading. Project Core is being conducted by the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies, a unit in the Department of Allied Health Sciences at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Project Core is focused on beginning communicators. These students are not yet able to use speech, signs, or symbols to meet all of their communication needs. This means they also struggle to identify the letters of the alphabet and are very unlikely to be readers. Why then is independent reading important? Let's look at some of the reasons. Independent reading gives students the opportunity to explore many different types of reading materials. This may include traditional, print books, comic books, magazines and flyers, ebooks on a tablet or computer, and any other print materials that interest the student. Students may choose reading materials because they are interested in the topic or like the pictures. They might also choose to explore reading materials because they are interactive with flaps to lift, or text that the computer reads and/or highlights for them. While students explore and choose books, there are lots of things to communicate about. For example, when this student went to the bookshelf, his teacher asked, "What book do you want?" and pointed to the core words, what and want, on his communication device. The student picked up a book, and the teacher responded with, "That's a good one," as she pointed to the core word, good. Just as soon as the teacher said, "That's a good one," the student dropped it and reached for a second. The teacher replied, "Not that one," as she pointed to the word not on his communication device. The student looked at and dropped a second one. The teacher repeated, "Not that one," and pointed to not again. And when the student pulled out a third book and dropped it, he pointed to the symbol not and smiled at his teacher. The student reached for yet another book but couldn't get it. The teacher said, "I see you reaching. Can I get it?" She pointed to the symbol for get and waited. The student touched the symbol next to get on his communication device. The teacher responded, "That's make," as she pointed to the symbol. Then she continued, "We can make a book later. Let me get this one now," pointing again at make and then get. Next, she handed him the book, and he drove away to read it. Independent reading helps students learn how to share their interest in and excitement about reading and reading materials. Since it's all about choice, students have the opportunity to figure out what they like. When they finish, we can talk about what they read or why they liked it or not. This is another opportunity to demonstrate core symbol use and provide aided language input about a meaningful topic. For example, one student used a switch to click through the pages of a book about pirates. The teacher included it in a collection he created for her on Tar Heel Reader because he knew how much the girl loved the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. When he noticed that the girl was at the end of the book, he walked over, pointed to like on the girl's communication board and said, "Did you like it?" The girl did not look pleased. The teacher said, "Uh-oh, you're frowning. Does that mean not?" as he pointed to not. Then he pointed to not and like as he said, "You did not like it?" The girl looked at him and the teacher continued, "Let's look together," as he pointed at look. As the teacher read each page and talked about it with enthusiasm, the girl's interest increased. The girl became visibly excited when she saw photos of treasure. The teacher said, "That is gold," as he pointed to that and then the picture of gold in the book. In response, the girl first looked and then reached for the book. The teacher continued, "You have that," as he pointed to you and that on the girl's universal core vocabulary system, and then pointed to the picture of the gold in the book. He added, "You have gold," as he pointed again to the symbol for you and then the picture of gold in the book. He paused and waited. The girl looked at him. He said, "You have gold earrings," as he pointed at the symbol for you and then pointed at the girl's earrings and said gold, and then the picture in the book and repeated gold. The girl laughed in response. Another benefit of independent reading is that students can apply the skills they learn during other early literacy routines. In shared reading, students learn about print and how books work as they interact and read with adults. During predictable chart writing, they see, hear, and learn common words that they are likely to see when reading. During alphabet and phonological awareness instruction, students learn about the letters and sounds used to write the words they see. Independent reading gives students a chance to put all of this information together as they interact with a variety of reading materials. Choice is critical for independent reading. Students must be offered with the widest range of choices possible. The materials they are offered must be age-respectful and ability-appropriate. Age-respectful materials have topics, pictures, and illustrations that students without disabilities of the same age might encounter. At the same time, the materials we provide must be easy enough for students to begin attending to the words. Pause for an activity. Reading materials must also be accessible if students are going to read the materials independently. For many students, independent access to reading materials requires the use of technology. We created Tar Heel Reader as a one-stop solution to provide students with independent access to books that are age-respectful and ability-appropriate. If you are not already familiar with Tar Heel Reader, we encourage you to take some time to explore the site, learn how to use the Favorites feature, and set up collections of books. This will allow your students, including those who are learning to use switches and eye gaze, to have independent access to a collection of books you've selected about topics you think will be interesting to them. Tar Heel Reader has options to change the page and text color to make the books more accessible to your students with visual impairments. It also has options to change the size of the buttons to turn the page and can be accessed using switches or other means of alternate access. If students are blind, making reading materials accessible requires the addition of Braille and other textual information. The student may lack the skills required to ever learn to read Braille, but just as their sighted peers have a chance to learn about how reading works by interacting with reading materials before they can read, students who are blind also need opportunities to interact with accessible reading materials to learn how reading and writing work. There are some resources regarding books with Braille and tactual features on the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies website. Independent reading helps students develop literacy skills and provides an important context for teaching communication by demonstrating the use of core vocabulary through aided language input while talking about the reading materials students select. While the focus is on supporting students as they interact with reading materials independently, Adults can support engagement and interest by communicating with students about the content of the materials they are reading. You can prepare and reflect on opportunities to teach communication during independent reading using the instructional planning guide and self-reflection checklists available at project-core.com. This concludes the module. Your feedback is important to us. Please take a couple of minutes to complete a brief survey about this module by going to project-core.com/PD survey. Thank you for your participation. To learn more about Project Core and to access free resources and materials, visit the website at project-core.com.